Have you ever found yourself stuck in a relationship, holding on to someone who clearly isn't right for you? You keep hoping things will change, but deep down, you know it's time to let go. It's a tough pill to swallow, but sometimes we hold on to the past because we're afraid of the future. There's an old saying, if you love something, let it go. While it sounds simple, the truth is letting go is often the hardest part. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to let go of her and never look back. You'll learn how to free yourself from emotional attachment, reclaim your power, and move forward without regret. Stick with me until the end. These powerful strategies will help you heal, grow, and make sure you never get stuck in a relationship that doesn't serve your future again. Accept that the relationship is over and acknowledge your feelings. Let's be real for a second. Accepting that a relationship is over is one of the hardest things you'll ever have to do. It's like your heart knows it's done, but your mind keeps trying to rewrite the ending, almost as if the plot can still be changed. It's painful, confusing, and often, downright frustrating. You might even feel like you're stuck in limbo for a while, just waiting for something, anything, to make the pain go away. But here's the thing. No one really tells you that the only way to move on is to fully accept that it's over and acknowledge what you're feeling. When a relationship ends, there's this immediate impulse to shut everything down, to pretend like you're fine when you're actually nowhere close. You feel the pressure to move on immediately because society expects you to. But here's a little secret, you don't have to rush. Give yourself the grace to feel. All those emotions, anger, sadness, regret, relief, confusion, they're valid. You're human, and these feelings are a part of the process. The problem is that many of us, especially men, are taught to suppress our emotions. We've been told, don't cry, or move on already. But how can you heal if you don't let yourself truly feel the weight of what's happened? I remember when my first serious breakup hit me. I wasn't ready for it. At all. It came out of nowhere, and I spent weeks walking around in a daze, trying to act like everything was normal. But every time I was alone, the wave of sadness would crash over me, and I couldn't ignore it anymore. I had this internal dialogue where I told myself, I should be stronger. I should be over this by now. But the truth was, I wasn't. And that's okay. The moment I stopped fighting my feelings and just let myself feel them, without judgment, that was the moment things started to shift. It's easy to get caught in the trap of replaying what went wrong, wondering if you could have done something differently. But the truth is, the relationship ended for a reason. And the longer you avoid that reality, the longer you'll stay stuck. You might want to hold on to the idea of what could have been, but holding on only keeps you anchored to the past. Psychologist Dr. Jennifer Gutman puts it best, true emotional healing happens when we accept what's in front of us, not what we wish could have been. It's important to acknowledge that the grief you're feeling is not just about the person, but about the loss of a future you imagined with them. You were building something, dreams, plans, a vision of your life together, and now all that's gone. That's not something you can just ignore and walk away from. You have to give yourself permission to grieve, to mourn the loss, even if it feels silly at times. The grief is real, and it deserves to be recognized. You're allowed to cry, to feel mad, to miss her, or to even feel relief and guilt about feeling relieved. There's no timeline for this. Just remember that you're not weak for feeling everything you're feeling. You're strong because you're letting yourself face it. It's when you stop running from your emotions that you start to heal. So, take a deep breath. Don't rush the process. You don't need to get over it overnight. Take the time to reflect on what you've learned, how you've grown, and, most importantly, that this chapter of your life has closed for a reason. There's a whole world ahead of you, waiting for you to step into it, without looking back. Focus on your personal growth and goals. Okay, so you've accepted that it's over, and now it's time for the next step, focusing on your personal growth and goals. And, I get it, it can feel almost impossible when you're still wrestling with the remnants of the relationship. But let me tell you something. This, right here, is the moment when you get to decide who you want to be next. You can choose to let the past define you, or you can use this pain to fuel your journey toward becoming the person you were always meant to be. I remember when I was in the thick of a breakup, and all I wanted was to disappear. I thought if I just ignored everything around me, the pain would eventually fade. But I soon realized that it wasn't going anywhere. The only way out was through. And that's when it clicked for me. I needed to turn my energy towards something that mattered. I needed to focus on myself. Now, I know that sounds cliché, right? Focus on yourself. It's the advice everyone gives, but it's actually the most powerful thing you can do. Let me break it down. When you're deeply invested in someone, your life, your energy, your thoughts, everything revolves around them. You lose a sense of self in the process. So, what happens when that person is no longer in the picture? You feel empty, like a puzzle missing a piece. But that's the beauty of it, you get to decide what goes in that empty space. Personal growth isn't just about picking up a new hobby or getting in shape, though those things definitely help. It's about rediscovering who you are, what you stand for, and what you want out of life. Think about it. You've just endured one of life's most painful experiences. You've survived it. That alone is a testament to your resilience. So, what's next? What goals do you want to crush? For me, after my breakup, I dove deep into my goals, business, fitness, and self-improvement. I had nothing but time and space, so I used that as an opportunity to level up. But here's the kicker, I didn't just focus on external goals. I started working on my mind, too. I took up meditation. I read books that challenged me. I learned how to sit with discomfort without running from it. And that's where true growth happens. It's in those moments when you're uncomfortable, when you feel like you can't take another step, but you do it anyway. That's how you build real strength. And here's the truth, when you focus on your personal growth, everything else starts to fall into place. The distractions fade, and your vision becomes clearer. The more you focus on bettering yourself, whether that's through learning new skills, improving your fitness, or creating new relationships, the more you start to realize that life is so much bigger than what you've just been through. Your future becomes the main character in your story, not your past. Let me leave you with this. Jim Rohn, a motivational speaker, once said, "Don't wish it were easier. Wish you were better." That hit me hard when I heard it because it reminded me that every challenge, every heartbreak, is a chance to become better. And trust me, when you start investing in yourself, when you start crushing your own goals, you won't even recognize the person you were before. You'll be stronger, more confident, and ready to take on whatever comes next. So, start now. Don't wait for the right time. Start today, even if it's just one small step. Take that energy, the energy you'd otherwise pour into thinking about her, and pour it into something that's going to propel you forward. Your future self will thank you. Remove any reminders or triggers that keep you attached to her. Alright, let's get into it, removing reminders and triggers. I know, it sounds like a chore, but trust me, it's one of the most powerful things you can do to free yourself from the emotional grip of a past relationship. Think about it. Every time you see her favorite song pop up on your playlist, or you walk past the cafe where you shared your first date, it's like you're holding onto a thread that keeps pulling you back. You might not realize it, but those little reminders can keep you tied to her even after you've tried to move on. I'll be honest, this was a tough one for me. When I went through a breakup, I kept everything. I didn't want to let go of the photos, the little notes she left, the gifts, or even the playlist we made together. I thought I was being sentimental, holding on to memories. But the truth? Those things were keeping me stuck in a loop. Every time I saw a photo, It wasn't a fond memory, it was a painful reminder that she wasn't here anymore. And that's when I realized those things were holding me back more than they were helping me heal. One of the hardest parts of letting go is accepting that you have to let go of things, memories, habits. There's this voice in your head that tries to convince you that holding onto these reminders somehow keeps the connection alive. But here's the deal, all they're really doing is keeping you attached to a past version of yourself. They're making it harder for you to create space for the new chapter of your life. Psychologists talk about the attachment theory, which basically says that the bonds we create with others shape how we view ourselves and our world. When that bond is broken, it's not just about losing a person, it's about recalibrating your entire sense of self. And those reminders? They keep pulling you back into the past, where you're emotionally anchored. It's like trying to run a race while dragging a suitcase full of bricks. It's heavy, it slows you down, and it's draining. So, here's what I did. I took a step back and looked around my space. I asked myself, what's keeping me tethered to the past? The old hoodie I still wore? Gone. The framed picture on my desk? Gone. The playlist we used to vibe to? Deleted. And I can't tell you how much lighter I felt. It was like I'd been carrying around a weight I didn't even realize was there. But by clearing away the physical reminders, I gave myself permission to move forward. It wasn't just about the stuff, though. It was the little things that triggered memories, the sound of a particular song, a phrase we used to say, even the scent of a perfume. These triggers would hit me at random moments, sending me into a mental tailspin. And you know what? You can't always control when or where those things pop up. But you can control how you react to them. So, instead of giving into the flood of memories, I started replacing those triggers with new associations. I found a new song that made me feel empowered. I created fresh memories in places that didn't involve her. It's hard. I know it is. You're not just letting go of a person, you're letting go of a whole vision of what you thought your future would look like. But every time you clear away a trigger, every time you remove a reminder, you create space for something better. It might not be easy at first, but it's one of the most freeing things you can do for yourself. Here's a quote from C.S. Lewis that stuck with me: "There are far, far better things ahead than any we leave behind." And he was right. You've got a future waiting for you, but to fully embrace it, you've got to leave the past where it belongs, behind you. And that starts with removing anything that keeps you anchored to her, and to the life you've outgrown. It's time to move forward. Keep your dignity and don't beg for her return. I get it. After a breakup, there's this overwhelming urge to fix things, to make her see that you're sorry, that you can change, that you can be what she needs. You might even catch yourself drafting that desperate text, the one where you pour your heart out and beg for one more chance. Trust me, I've been there. It's painful. It feels like your whole world is crumbling, and all you want is to put the pieces back together. But here's the thing, begging for a return? That's not the answer, my friend. It won't bring her back, and, more importantly, it won't bring you back to the person you're meant to be. I remember the first time I felt this desperate. My heart was shattered, and I thought if I just explained myself one more time, if I just showed her how much I cared, things would magically click. I sent a message, long, emotional, the whole works, and waited. And waited. And, as you can probably guess, the response was crickets. That's when I learned the hard way. Begging doesn't just push her away, it tears down the last bits of your dignity. And in the end, it's not your pride you're protecting, it's your sense of self-worth. Look, I get why it seems like a good idea. The pain of rejection is brutal. It makes you question everything about yourself, your value, your worth. But here's the uncomfortable truth, begging doesn't change anything. It doesn't change how she feels, and it certainly doesn't help you heal. It just keeps you stuck in a cycle of wanting something that's already gone. In the moments after a breakup, you might feel like you'll do anything just to turn back time, to fix things. But in those moments, it's critical to remember who you are. You've got to hold onto your dignity, even when it feels like it's slipping away. You're not some desperate person who has to beg for love. Love, real love, isn't about convincing someone to stay. It's about mutual respect, trust, and desire. If she's left, it's because the relationship wasn't right, and no amount of pleading is going to change that. You might be thinking, but what if I can convince her? Here's what I've learned from both experience and some of the greats like Eckhart Tolle: you cannot cling to someone who doesn't want to be held. Simple, right? But profound. Clinging to someone who doesn't feel the same way only drains your energy. You end up giving everything you have, only to come up empty. In the end, you're left with nothing but the memory of the person who walked away, and a sense of self-respect that's been eroded. Now, I know it's tough. The heartache, the loneliness, it's real. But here's the thing, your dignity is sacred. Don't let it slip away just because you're in pain. When you keep your dignity, you're telling yourself that you deserve better than a relationship that doesn't make you feel whole. You're telling yourself that you're enough, no matter what happens. I came across a quote from the writer and philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche that really stuck with me: "He who has a why to live can bear almost any how." And I'm telling you, your why should never be someone else. Your why is about who you are and who you're becoming. So, the next time you're tempted to beg for her return, take a step back. Remember who you are. Keep your dignity intact. The right person will come into your life when you stop begging for someone who isn't meant for you. You don't need to prove your worth to anyone, especially not to someone who has already made their choice. Trust in your value, and the rest will follow. Keep your head up, move forward, and never settle for less than you deserve. Embrace the freedom and opportunities that come with moving on. Alright, let's talk about freedom. When a relationship ends, it can feel like your world has been turned upside down, like you've lost a part of yourself. And for good reason. You invested time, energy, and emotion into building something with someone, only to see it crumble. It's a deep loss. But here's the thing, what you might not realize in the midst of all that pain is that freedom comes with moving on. Real, tangible freedom that opens up a whole new world of possibilities for you. I remember after one of my toughest breakups, I was so caught up in the grief and the what-ifs that I didn't even notice the opportunities right in front of me. I spent days, weeks, replaying every conversation, every moment we shared, thinking somehow I could change the outcome. But one day, I had this moment of clarity. I realized, holding on to the past wasn't going to bring her back, but it was preventing me from moving forward. And when I took a step back, I saw that my future was still wide open. The world, in all its chaotic beauty, was waiting for me to embrace it. You see, when you let go of someone, you're also letting go of all the things that kept you stuck in a loop. You're freeing up emotional space. Space that you can now fill with new experiences, new relationships, and most importantly, your own growth. You don't realize how much energy you were pouring into someone else's needs until you shift your focus back to yourself. There's this whole universe of possibilities that suddenly becomes available to you when you stop clinging to the past. Let me give you an example. A few months after my breakup, I started getting serious about my fitness, something I'd always put off because I was too distracted by the emotional weight of the relationship. I dove into it, not as a distraction, but as an act of reclaiming my life. And man, did it feel amazing. It wasn't just about looking better, it was about feeling stronger, more confident. It was about rediscovering who I was outside of the relationship, and that gave me a sense of freedom I hadn't felt in years. The more I focused on myself, the more I saw that I wasn't defined by the relationship I lost. I was defined by the person I was becoming. Psychologists talk about something called post-breakup growth, which essentially means that many people emerge from a breakup stronger, more self-aware, and more resilient. It's easy to think that a breakup is just a setback, but in many cases, it's the catalyst for growth you didn't even know you needed. It's like the universe forcing you to go on a journey of self-discovery, even if you didn't ask for it. And the beauty of that is, you get to write the next chapter of your life. You have the pen. It's no longer about the relationship you lost, it's about the life you get to create. Take a minute and think about it. What have you always wanted to do but never had the time for? What dreams did you shelve because you were too focused on someone else? Now's your chance to pick those dreams up and run with them. If there's a skill you've always wanted to learn, a place you've always wanted to visit, or a career you've always wanted to pursue, go for it. You have the freedom to shape your life however you want. As Paulo Coelho once said, when you let go of something, you make space for something better. And that's the truth. Letting go doesn't mean giving up, it means making room for the life that's waiting for you. A life that's full of opportunities. So, embrace the freedom that comes with moving on. Let go of the past and open yourself up to all the amazing things that are waiting for you. Your best chapter is just beginning. That's how you let go of her and never look back. Remember, the best way to move forward is to focus on yourself and your growth. If you found this video valuable, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more life-changing content. Drop a comment below with your thoughts or tips on moving on and growing stronger. Stay focused, stay resilient, and I'll see you in the next video.